44 seconds, the Centura comes to a halt. Kurt Luby bodily removed from the car. And
what's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day today. Now, Bitcoin actually had a very interesting morning. We attempted to have a breakout. You can see this candle right here. We got all the way up to about $21,860. And then, of course, Powell came out. He gave his speech at Jackson Hole. Charts started going all over the place. It looked like the markets were going to dump this morning. Then they pumped back up again. So to be honest, it looks like the markets are a little bit confused today as to how to take this news from Jerome Powell. Now, it does appear that he is still maintaining his hawkish stance, and they are going to do whatever they have to do to get inflation down. Now, of course, he said, if it does look like signs are improving, yes, they will pull back, become a little bit more dovish. But what he said he didn't want to do was he didn't want to prematurely start pivoting, right? Because that's where we've had some disasters in the past. So it was kind of a very neutral Powell speech, really. It almost kind of sounded deadpan. He had almost no emotion in his voice at all. Not really sure how to take it. It's almost as if the markets don't know how to take it. Could we have a big move leading into the end of the weekend? Possibly. But then you know what happens, guys. Saturday, Sunday, I don't really trust those price actions anyway. So we'll see what happens. Technically, right now, we're looking like we want to have a bullish breakout to the upside, but like I said, this news just came out about a half hour ago, so I don't know how the markets are going to digest this as the day goes on. Nevertheless, I'm still going to let you guys know what I'm seeing in the charts right now. There is something a little bit scary that we should worry about. I do want to bring you some data, and there is a possible worst case scenario. If you guys are interested, stick around for that. Yesterday's video was quite bullish, so today maybe I'll show you a little bit of the flip side. But nevertheless, he said that reducing inflation is likely to require a sustained period of below trend growth, very likely be some softening of labor market conditions. But actually, it was crazy. He said, while rate increases will slow growth and inflation, they will also bring some pain to households and businesses. Those are the unfortunate costs of reducing inflation. But a failure to restore price stability would mean far greater pain. So is he essentially just preparing us for the worst, saying hey, it is going to get worse? Because, if that's the case, like a lot of people were saying in yesterday's video, which, by the way, I really appreciated all your comments in yesterday's video. There were some that were a little bit more negative, some that were positive. But what I liked the most was the discussion that we really had in the comments. And yes, this time is very different for Bitcoin. We've never seen a situation like this, right? You can look at all the data, you can look at all the technicals, all the things pointing to a bottom. But, if we do go into this global economic meltdown, if it does end up happening, then yes, that's something Bitcoin's never experienced. And it could present a completely new paradigm, for the asset class all around. We are moving our stance purposefully to a level that we're hoping to get back down to 2% inflation. He also was quoting, Volcker and stuff. So yeah, definitely still coming across as hawkish, but again, it was sort of what everyone was expecting, which is why I think the markets right now are having a little bit of a hesitancy stall kind of out moment. So that was the summary of what happened. If you do want to check out, you can go and just rewatch it. But like I said, kind of really didn't say anything outside of what we were anticipating anyway. So we're going to talk about what we could expect on the technicals short term. I want to look at a potential worst case possibility. We have diminishing returns, maybe diminishing losses as well, right? That's something to consider. And also something that has been historically a little bit scary about the month of September, which we are entering in very soon. So if all that sounds good to you today, you know what to do. If you're not subscribed, definitely consider it. Let's dive in and let's have a look. Now, you can see right here, look at this crazy morning we had. I mean, this is just a 4-hour. If I put this on an even lower time frame chart, you'll see how crazy this was getting this morning, right? And this is what was happening during when he was coming out and talking, Powell. So what we had essentially, this is the lower time frame. I don't really like trading too much on the lower time frame, but we did have this resistance right here, right? We came above it, acted a bit as support. We fell through in anticipation, and this is essentially what we got, pumping up and then pulling back down. So it was a very crazy morning, which is why personally, I don't like trading news events like this because, he says one thing, price pumps. He says another thing, price pulls back down, right? You ultimately have to see how everyone is going to digest this because look what happened this morning. And this is why, like I said, I don't know what's going to happen because this morning we had opened up down here on the S&P, pumped all the way up here, to the top of the candle from yesterday, and now we're heading back down below this support. So like I said, we have to see how the markets are going to ultimately digest this news. But getting back to Bitcoin, essentially, we are still kind of hanging on by a thread a little bit, but every single time you can see we come down to this level, we do get bought up. I mean, every single time we touch this red line, you can see right here, Bitcoin gets bought up, Bitcoin gets bought up, Bitcoin gets bought up. And again, this morning, Bitcoin gets bought up. So essentially, until we fall out of this channel, currently sitting at around pretty much $21,000 even, it looks like we're just still consolidating in this upward sloping trend, right? The ultimate, like I said, and this is the same number that I've had essentially for the whole week, is if we fall below $20,739, this area right here, this green level, then yes, that could be bad. And if we close below that, then yes, Bitcoin could go much further. But if we do break this purple level, then yeah, the next area of interest is this heart line around $23,300. Now, obviously, weekend trading can get a little bit crazy, so do be careful with that. Having a look right here, the ultimate goal up here would be around 23,810. But just as a warning, if we do lose this lower level, and right now we're still kind of in that neutral area, we were a little bit bearish in the beginning of the week, a little bit bullish midway. Now, again, we're neutral. We're literally on the level, so it could go either way right now. But if it does break this level to the downside, then unfortunately, you could see the next target coming all the way down here to this level of support, which is around $18,960. So in summary, super quick, break above 22,000, okay? Break above 22,000, hold above it, then the next level is around 23.8, fall below 20,738, and unfortunately, we could go below $19,000 to about 18,960. So guys, if you do want to learn how to trade, responsibly and profitably, make sure you check out the tutorial for BitGet. And remember, I do have over $15,000 in bonuses below. It takes 20 seconds, literally, to sign up for an account. Use the link below. It is a US-friendly exchange, so up to 20 Bitcoin daily withdrawal, and you can get reduced fees by using the token. So that is something definitely to take advantage of, especially during these boring markets. Now, let's have a look super quick at the DXY. Now, how did the DXY actually respond to this? Well, currently, it looks like it did pull up a little bit. It was down around 107. It's up around 108 right now. Maybe some people have anticipated that potentially as, good for the dollar. Although, just remember that the dollar is not really as strong as it looks. It's just inflating slower than the other fiat currencies, right? So it's like the lesser of two evils. It's not really like it's doing well. It's just not doing as bad, I guess, so to speak. But, shout out to Stock Money Lizards. They pointed this very, very simple chart out. We could chart this ourselves, but I think this is a beautiful chart. Look at this right here. It says people are putting faith into the dollar right now. Every hype has its end, especially since USD dilution has accelerated that much during 2020 and 2021. And at the end of these USD hype phases, which we are in right now, according to the RSI, Bitcoin finds support and bounces. So we were going over a lot of indicators in yesterday's video. One indicator that I didn't actually compare, which would have been really helpful, is comparing the DXY to Bitcoin. Now, whenever the DXY, is doing very poorly, that's when we see Bitcoin at the top. The DXY is doing very well right now, right? It's been on a bull trend. Now, it may be in a potential double top right now. We don't know. But historically speaking, if you look at the inverse, the tops of the DXY, right, are often the Bitcoin bottoms. And right now, according to the actual DXY itself, could be potentially finding some sort of resistance on this trend. And also, if you look at where this RSI peaks down here, it could be a signal that it's time for the dollar to roll over. So having a look right here, is that a possibility? Well, so far, it does seem like it's having a bit of a double top stall out at around 109.2, and we have started to pull back. However, there's nothing really so far that confirms that the dollar has fully broken down. We thought we had the confirmation right in this little area right here, but it honestly just turned out to be basically a continuation pattern. It was in fact a bull flag forming on the dollar. But I think it's important to remember the bigger picture. Sometimes we do get caught up in what's happening right now and the inflation being crazy high and the Fed tightening and they're being hawkish. But at the end of the day, just remember the tools that they have in their arsenal. And remember that inevitably fiat currencies are inflationary by design. They have to be, or else the governments that print these currencies cannot actually maintain control. And Bruce Fenton, he's actually going for New Hampshire U.S. Senate. He came out, and this video has been circulating, going a little bit viral. I want to play this for you super quick before we move on.
The site allows contributions in cryptocurrency. Do you favor increased use of crypto in monetary transactions? And what do you say to those who oppose cryptocurrencies because they can be used for illegal transactions?
Yeah, I'm all for any form of money that anybody wants to use. And ideally, I'd like to get government out of the money business, just like we used to have church and state were once together. We wouldn't be able to have this meeting without officials from the church hundreds of years ago. And we should get government out of the money business. We can separate money just like we separated church and state. We can separate money and state. Because government doesn't need to be in the money business. We don't need politicians to tell us what money is. Throughout human history, for thousands of years, people have figured it out, whether it's gold or silver or Bitcoin. And the fact is that our money right now is broken. Politicians broke it. They have unlimited money that they can print from thin air without accountability. And that is now competing against an asset like Bitcoin, which is limited in supply, limited to 21 million coins, cannot be printed from thin air. So the money is broken, and politicians broke it, and everybody should have the freedom to choose better money if they choose to. I chose Bitcoin. I recommend other people choose something else as well, because the dollar is a melting ice cube.
All right, Senator Morse.
So let me know what you think. Do you agree with him? Is the dollar a melting ice cube, or is Powell just going to come in and save the day and the dollar's just going to go absolutely to the moon? Maybe short term, possibly, but long term, I think we all know where it's heading. So, if you're worried about tomorrow, next week, next month, maybe, okay, I get it. 5 years out, 10 years out, let's be real, guys. We know what's going to end up happening. So getting back to the Bitcoin chart super quick, obviously we need to get above this 200 weekly moving average at around 23,118. But of course, I do just want to be honest. If we had to look at one thing historically, okay, that has been negative, is that if you look at the month of September actually has been historically the worst performing month for Bitcoin in its entire history. In fact, September has only ever had 2 green months, and those green months were not even that impressive at around 6% and 2%. We've seen crazy months where Bitcoin, has had, 31%, 33%, 44% pumps. For example, 52% in May of 2017. September, generally a sideways down red, not so great month. So not sure what that means historically, but we will see if September plays out to be one of those negative months again. Now, I do want to give a massive shout out to Benjamin Cohen. I love his analysis. Actually, when Benjamin's channel had less subscribers than my channel, I remember I was watching one of his videos and I was like, man, this guy's going to blow up. Great analysis. And anyway, so he put this video out yesterday where he was talking about worst case scenarios for Bitcoin bottoms, and he did bring up an interesting point. So if you do look at what has happened historically for Bitcoin, I actually just put this chart over here to show you. Shout out to Ben for that. But ultimately, if you do look from, for example, the tops to bottoms, we have diminishing returns, as in Bitcoin doesn't make as much money, each cycle, right? Each cycle, it's less and less and less percentage. But at the same time, each drawdown is less and less too, right? For example, back here, we had a 94% drawdown. Right here, we had about an 88% drawdown. Here in 2017 to 2019, we had an 84% drawdown, right? So maybe this time we'll only have about an 80% drawdown, right? So if we were to have about an 80% drawdown, that brings us to around $13,200. And what's even crazier about that is if you are, of the idea that we do have these diminishing returns and that it does lengthen a little bit over time, then right here we had our bottom on the 200 weekly, right, which is this pink line. But then the next time we had our bottom on the 300 weekly, which is this blue line. What if this time we have our bottom on the 400 weekly? Now, this is a crazy concept. We don't have any proof of it. And also, you can't really trust this COVID crash because it was considered a black swan event. But it is a little crazy how if you take 80% from top to bottom, it does bring us down to this potential 400 level, which would say that Bitcoin is going to $13,000 as a low. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen. Just in yesterday's video, I was very positive. I had a lot of nice and, bullish things to show on the chart. And, some people are very down right now. They're very bearish. They think that the economy is going to collapse and the whole world is going to explode. So these are some negatives, right? These are some things that we, potentially should worry about. And the price is starting to push down right now. So maybe we do end today on a down candle. Maybe they don't take this as too good of news, considering the fact that he kind of came out and was like, kind of blah about it. Yeah, whatever. We're, basically saying like, we're not going to change. We don't care if the people get hurt, essentially saying there's going to be more pain to come for households and businesses. So yeah, that's kind of sending a message, People might be scared right now, and if they're worried about having their livelihoods affected, then yeah, they may start, hoarding their cash, spending less, right? So that's a possibility. Not to mention the fact that this news on top of it came out. The US SEC has pushed back a decision on the latest application for a Bitcoin spot exchange traded fund. Not surprised, by VanEck. So they had their first, that was obviously shut down. They had a second one in November of last year. That was shut down. They said that they did not meet the standards to protect investors as well as prevent fraudulent and manipulative acts and practices. So they put a third application out, and they said that there were a number of reasons why the SEC should reconsider its previous decision. And it looks like rather than outright denying it, they've actually postponed it to October 11th, which usually when they postpone it, it usually means they're going to just deny it anyway. But hey, it could be a positive if they do change their mind. The commission finds that it's appropriate to designate a longer period within which we need to take action. We need to consider, other things. And yeah, same old story, same old song and dance, right? So having a look right here, I got to get out of this chart. This is way too crazy. So yeah, guys, look, we're having we're having the dollar, or we're having the S&P looking like it's taking this as negative news today now. And, it could affect Bitcoin and drag Bitcoin down with it. As I said, guys, I'm not changing anything on here. We fall below 20,739, 38, whatever. We close that. Let's just say 20,740. We close that candle, right? Tomorrow, same thing. Not looking too good for Bitcoin. We hold above it today. Then I think Bitcoin still has a chance to continue, and we could go up to some of these higher levels. So essentially, that's it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. You are the reason that I make these videos. And remember, if you do want to get those bonuses, make sure you check the links popping up above. But that is it for me today, guys. Let me know how you feel about Bitcoin. Are you bullish? Are you bearish? What do you think is going to happen? The weekend is coming. We know things get crazy. But that's it for me. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. My name's K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.